Hello and welcome to the Christians Youth Podcast. We are entering this week the season 2, and in this season we'll be looking at the multicultural environment. Mauritius is multicultural. We have various cultures, various religions, various faith and various beliefs, and yet still, as a CEO, we have to navigate through this context. And everybody speaks of Mauritius beauty because we are so knit together. We have multiple culture, multiple religion, and the Mauritian culture in itself is the mixture of all of that. So today we're going to look into how do we lead into a multiple religion or multiple cultural context. So that's what is this season will be about. We'll be talking a lot about what it means, try to understand what are the intricacies and how we navigate through that, being who we are and believing what we believe in. So Acts chapter 17 verse 26 says, He made from one man every nation. Of course, we know that out of Abraham, so many nations came out. And we know that out from Adam, so many nations came out as well, because we all come from Adam, and we all have a multi-nation, multicultural, multi-religion that we have now today. So I just want to keep into context. We are talking about a CEO here. We are talking about leaders. So when we lead, it's not a church leadership that we're talking about. We are talking about leading in the secular world. So being a CEO, I still need to lead my company. I still need to lead my country. No matter what belief or what culture is there, I still need to lead them to the best that I can for the purpose that I've been hired to, for the calling that I am. So we've been discussing about the calling, understanding what the calling is, the purpose, the responsibility, the roles so far. Now we're going to deep dive into the complexities, if I can say. So Mauritius is a multi-faith and multi-ethnic society. What does that mean? It means that we have people of all faith. So the mainstream faith is, of course, Christianity. We have Hinduism, we have Islam, we have other faith as well. We have Tamil. We have a mix of that. I myself don't understand every one of them, but we have the Chinese also, which is Buddhism. We have some people who don't believe in anything. So it's a multicultural society. But I grew up having in my neighborhood people of all faith, and we grew up peacefully. So I would be playing with my friends. Their religion or culture would not be a problem. That's how we live it. But of course, each of them has a culture that they adhere to. Each of them has a faith that they adhere to. And we know that our faith will shape our culture. We seldom try to dissociate faith from culture, but most of the time, the faith has a direct impact on the culture, right? So in the midst of all of that, we have still to be the image of God, and we still have to lead as God called us to. It's a complex matter to lead in a multicultural context and in multicultural society. Why? Because like I just said, everyone has a way of life. Everyone have their own tradition, their own cultures, their own specifics, but we have to honor all of them. When I'm leading my company, when I'm a leader, even if I'm a government leader, I'm a prime minister or minister of any different section, whatsoever, I work for the whole population. Just like a CEO, I lead the whole company. And if I'm leading in government, I have to lead everyone that lives in Mauritius. So the first thing, the most important thing, when we live in a multicultural context like ours, like Mauritius, is that I have to understand the people before I can lead them. I have to understand all of them. Primarily, or firstly, I need to know what are the various ethnicities that I have. What are the various religions that I have? What are the various faiths that I have? And what are the specifics of each and every one of them? Because I need to honor them. I need to honor them. I need to lead them in a way that I'm not going to oppose them, in a way that I'm not going to be going against their faith, their belief, what makes them as a person. We seldom don't understand or don't believe or don't realize that the faith of everyone is what makes them. So what makes me? It's my faith in Jesus Christ. It's my faith, my belief, or the way God has created us, the way God look at things. So I look through that faith, and this is how I live. We cannot dissociate it. When I go to work, I'm still the same person. We tend to dissociate that. And Mauritius is not an island where people don't believe. The majority of people believe in something, right? Multicultural faith. So that individual that I'm hiring, but I'm going to lead in my office, he believes in something. And I have to understand that. And I have to understand the same for each and every one of them. I cannot do a kind of management but bring conflicts in everything. So I have to be very careful. So I have to understand how everyone believe, what are the tradition, what are the cultures. I have to understand all of that. But I also have to understand the cultural sensitivity of all of that, because in the decision making, in the policies, in the day-to-day operation of work, the way I lead them, I must be very sensitive through my action, my words, on my policies, the way I lead, so as not to overstep and try to be imposing something on them. Because we have to understand, we are in a secular world, we are in the business environment. This is not where we are doing evangelism. This is where leading, we're being the image of God, where we are being perfect, excellent in what we have been called to, and that is the stewardship of what God has placed into my hand. What do I have into my hands? I have the business that God has placed into my hands. I have to represent God in that. And I also have the lives of each of all these people so that they can experience God through me. What do they have to experience? The love, the kindness, the compassion, all of what will be looking after that. But right now, I need to understand that, okay, not everyone is like me. And if not everyone is like me, that does not mean they are against me. So I have to understand the intricacies, I have to understand the sensitivities, and I have to understand the various traditions and cultures that are in play here. Because that's what it's about. It's a multicultural environment. And I'm talking about people of faith, but we can also have people who are atheists. They don't believe in anything. I also need to be leading them the same way as I lead any other. So sometimes the danger in when we ignore or we're not aware of the sensitivities, we create a lot of frustration and confusion. We might say things or do things that will have as output to hurt the sensitivity of that person that we're trying to lead. And instead of seeing us as somebody they can trust, they can lead on, they see us as an obstacle, and they see us as the enemy or somebody who does not appreciate them, doesn't like them, and it creates a lot of confusion and frustration. So we have to understand, I'm trying to look at my notes because there's so much thing that we could say in this topic, but I want to stay focused in that introductory phase so that then later on we can continue. So culture shapes communication. Of course, it shapes communication, it shapes expectation, and it shapes also respect. So like I said, I grew up as all Mauritian grew up of my age. So my neighbor would be a Muslim or Hindu, Chinese person, and I remember that when we grew up, we were always celebrating with one another. So that was not an issue. So, but that's the same. That's the same environment we are today in the workplace. But being a Christian and being grown up now, I understand that I can still be happy amongst everything, but I cannot compromise my faith. And that is where the sensitivity is very important. How do I go along not compromising my own faith, not compromising my walk with Christ, but still be loving, caring, and not being rude or pushy or ignorant of other people's faith, thinking I am like over them because I'm CEO imposing whatever on them. So that's very very important. The other extreme as well is not good. It's like, okay, we cut out faith in the workplace. We won't be talking about faith. We won't consider your faith. That also is not good, because you're ignoring a very important part of that person. He believes in that. So that's his tradition, that's his culture, that's his religion, that's his faith, that is his being. So we cannot just ignore that part of him, because that is who makes him. So now, but we have something very important that we have understood, right? Everyone is made in God's image. So, and Psalm 139 says that God created them in the womb of the mother. So while he was creating them, God was creating them. He knew in what faith he would be born. He knew in what culture. So he is still created in the image of God. And that's why we have to start from that foundation. Everyone is created in the image of God. And I have to respect everyone. I have to see everyone as a creation of God. And because they are a creation of God, an image of God, they are similar to me, and my relationship with them has to be based on the very fact that they has been created in the perfect image of God, and I have to relate to them on that level. So that's the foundation of it. So then, of course, through their birth, through their family, through their ties, they all went to different strengths of faith. That's okay, and that's good. Well, but now I'm in my business. I'm leading, and I have to take care of all of that. Because in Mauritius, for instance, we have several public holidays. Each religion, each faith has their own holidays, because they celebrate something in their faith, and they have a public holiday. We have Christian public holidays, we have Hindu public holidays, we have Muslim public holidays, we have Chinese celebration holidays, we have Tamil celebration holidays, and we all benefit from it. So that's the beauty of it also. So, and then we have to make sure that in the midst of all of that, we as leaders, we understand and we don't judge. Remember, the marketplace is not the place of the church. That's the marketplace. We're dealing with everyone. Our prime job is to lead and be excellent in what we have been hired for by being the image of God. The primary target we have is to be successful professionally by uncompromising our faith, who we are, our image, and being a witness of who God is in that particular way. It's a difficult thing, but that's what we are called for. That's why we are sent out to the whole world, so that we could present the image of the kingdom, the values, and the faith. Remember, when we started talking, we said that the witnessing that we do in the marketplace has everything to do in how we relate to others, the way we speak, the way we react, the way we treat them, the way we lead, the policies that we choose to implement, the way we deal with pressure, the way we deal with risks, the way we deal with everything. That is where the image of God comes through and is a witness. That is where we have the opportunity to display the fruit of the Spirit and do things differently. Because why? We are animated by the Spirit of God. So now, the challenge comes because you're a Christian CEO and you're leading a multi-ethnic company. How do you honor the people who are created in God's image, even though they are not the same faith as you? You have to work on that. You have to honor them. Their faith, even if it's different from you, their tradition, their culture, even if it's different from you, cannot be a factor where you load down on them, or you ignore them, or you don't honor them in any way. That would be hypocrite from yourself, and that would not please God, right? That would not please God. And how do you come about to create that sense of unity, that sense of oneness, so that they all look up to you because of the way you're leading them? That is also an important thing, because I say it again, each of them has different way that they look at life. Each of them has different culture pressure upon them because of the culture that we come from and the faith that we come from. But yet again, as a Christian CEO, I have to lead them, and everything that I've learned, I have to, of course, make sure that I display and I put them at the service of everyone. So, and of course, the biggest question that we have, that's the general question, in how can God use this diversity that we have for His kingdom? So it's a diversity, right? So the business has to be successful, and we have to count on everyone that is working with us. I like to read in the Old Testament when we had the kingdom of led by either Solomon or other kings, where even though there would not be it would not be consist of only Jews, would have other people, and the leaders had to deal with them and to treat them the same way as if they were Jews. They would not be recognized as Jews itself, but still they have to be treated well. So that's the goal. That's the idea. So we cannot ignore the faith of others. I heard some conversation last time where we'd say, okay, we are like, faith has no place in the professional world or in the secular world. Why? No, that's being ignorant and ignoring a very important composite of a human being. So we cannot ignore that person, but he is a Muslim, for instance, or he is Hindu guy, for instance, or he is a Buddhist, or he is an unbeliever, or he's an atheist. We cannot ignore that. No, that's what the person is. And when we understand all of that around him, we can be a better steward of him, because God has placed him in our hands. We understood already that it's a calling, and we are steward of what God has placed in our hands. And how better to help, lead, and be close to someone, not only for work purposes, but for his own life, than to take time to understand, to listen to him, and get closer to him. So that's what it means to be leading in a multicultural context. So we lead that in Mauritius. There are dynamics that change. There are difficulties. There are obstacles at times. There are conflicts, and we have to ensure that this does not happen. We cannot also go out and say, okay, I'm only going to hire just people of the faith. That's not what God wants us to be. He wants us to be inclusive. He wants us to live in peace. He wants us to lead everyone similar. He loves everyone. The sun shines for everyone. The rain falls for everyone. So we have to follow how God treats others, and that is what we're supposed to do. So sometimes the misunderstanding of different culture creates a lot of gaps, a lot of mistake and error from the part of the CEOs or the leaders, even at times from colleagues. So we must have that culture where we all understand what this other guy's culture or faith or tradition is, so that when we do things in the office, when we apply our rules and regulation and or employee handbooks, we take into consideration everything, so that everyone find their place, they're appreciated, they're loved, they're taken care of, and they don't feel as if they are being misaligned or put aside. More so by those who claim to be Christian and openly live their faith. We have to lead the way in the way we love, we forgive, we embrace, all of that without compromising our faith and our walk in Christ. So compromise is a no-go. We cannot compromise on our faith. We cannot compromise of what God requires of us. We cannot compromise on anything that Christ has taught us to. No, that's a no-go. No compromise. But still, love, forgiveness, endurance, patience, compassion, empathy, all of that we have to display as we live people of all different faiths. And we have the responsibility to make sure that the office, all these people are working together as one. There is peace, there's an understanding, there's collaboration, there is help between each other, and there's a very good team spirit. And that will come down from you. If you lead like that, then all your employees will follow, will adopt that the way that you're leading the company. And that could be something very good, very great for the benefit of the company and at large for the benefit of the society. If we can't understand each other, if we can't have this peace, we run the risk of seeing civil unrest. We cannot allow to have like cells of different culture. For instance, if I have like 50 employees, I have a mix of Hindu, Muslim, and so on. And during lunchtime, they all gather among themselves. That's something that we have to break, because we have to mix. That's what it means to be a Mauritian. We have to mix with everyone. We have to look at everyone as being part of us. Else, it creates silos. And when it creates silos, it's very difficult to have collaboration. It's very difficult to have oneness. It's very difficult to do something together and have a very good bonded team spirit. So we pray that God leads us in the complex situation. We pray that God will give us wisdom, understanding, and know-how how to navigate all of that without without compromising on anything about our faith and our walk with Christ. So we have to learn how to build trust among each other by knowing them, not ignoring that part of them, accepting it, living with it. We don't have to compromise, and we don't have to force them to compromise as well, right? We don't have to force them to compromise, but we have to love them. We have to. They are here for a purpose. God has added them to your team, your steward. Later on, God will see what He's going to do with that person. But for you, you have the responsibility of the team, and you have to make sure that everyone is taken care of, is loved, is served, is used in the sense that they find their importance in the team, and that they all find their place in the team. Have a wonderful week. It's a complex topic. We'll talk more on our next episode. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you see that this is helping, please share around. The more people who listen and understand and put into practice, the greater our peace circle will go, and we'll have a better environment. God bless you all. See you next time.